Good afternoon, guys. Man, I'm excited about this one. Welcome back to the homestead, y'all. I am really excited about this one. I've been waiting probably since we moved in for this box to arrive. Not that I ordered it then, I only ordered it like 2 days ago, but to really uncork the potential of the John Deere, it needs attachments. Otherwise, it just drives back and forth. You know, we have the plow, we have the cart, we have the lawnmower, and these are all regular homeowner things. But what makes us different here? We try to be self-sufficient. So what's in the box? Behold, I got in touch with Mark over at Innovative Tractor Attachments, and I got us a Grapple. Take a look at this thing, guys. We got an extra wide grapple for the front of the tractor. So, for a couple of reasons, I've really wanted this. One, logs are really heavy, and we have a lot of logs here. Two, and you guys have also seen my chainsaw work. Admittedly, not so good. This is going to cut down on my propensity of putting my tip into the dirt and dulling the chain. Once you get a hold of a log with the grapple, we can lift it up. I don't need much. I'm not a boomer. I don't need it up in the air. I've seen some of these guys, they lift it up chest high and they cut it. I'm not that old. I don't need it that high. This is just high enough for me to be able to buck a log down and not put my tip in the dirt, which, you know, happens now a lot. And we've talked about getting a 1025 when we were doing the fuel filter on this. You know, oh, why don't you get a 1025? Here's another example of this being an older machine and I could work on it. Not getting a 1025, not needing a PhD or the secret software to change things on any one of these new tractors. This is old. This is older technology. And the fact that I have a John Deere hat on makes me qualified to put this thing on. So, enough jibber jabber because I'm excited. Let's start putting this thing on. All right, so it looks like we got a bag of hardware. I'm sure I didn't need to take it out this early in the process, but I just wanted to check it out. Oh, what? Oh, game changer. You know, you hear people say, oh, that's a game changer. This is a game changer for us. Or for me. Because I don't see Ashley out here cutting any logs. Cool. Step one, we have to angle the quick hitch all the way over to the right. The next thing we have to do, focus, is remove these two pins that hold the angling cylinder on. This one here and this one there. I have a feeling that this is going to be the most difficult part of this entire installation. You're dealing with old stuff, but you can't have no in your heart, right? Am I bleeding already? Jesus Christ. And a move that was kind of expected because this is, what, 17 years old? You start fiddling with them and the cotter pin just broke off. Which, as Bob Ross would say, happy accidents. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult. At the back of the angling cylinder. Let's see if we can't get you focused. Oh yeah, beautiful. Oh, that guy right there. He's kind of housed in there. No big deal. We'll probably end up breaking him too. Before you get started with this, have a couple cotter pins on hand. Once you start fiddling with them, it fell right off. Alright. Not hard, just a pain in the butt. So again, before you even get started, buy a couple of cotter pins. Cool, angling cylinder out. All right, so we got the angling cylinder loosey-goosey. Next thing we have to do, lift up the quick hitch to its highest position. Now that we have it up in the air, we have to grab our bracket here. We gotta grab our bracket here, cool, and line it up with some holes. So we have this bracket here that goes on here, lines up with the holes that are already in the quick hitch. I'm gonna put this quick connect pin through the back, this quick connect pin that comes in the kit, through the back hole. Knock out the dirty old grass that's in the way. Put this pin through. Just put the pin through the bottom. Okay. Big bolt that's, again, included in the kit through this front hole. Gonna put it in kind of upside down, if you will, where the nut goes on top. We feed this bolt up through the bottom. When we put this through the bottom, we're gonna wanna have the lock washer, again that's included, and then the flat washer already installed on the bolt. Pretty slick. Instead of having two sockets or wrenches that need to be this size, this nut is captive inside the bracket, and now all we have to do is tighten it from the bottom. A word about the hardware that we just put on. It's a big bolt. It's not really something that I don't think the average homeowner would have. I don't know though. When I first saw it, I said, man, what am I, a dock installer? I don't have any sockets that are gonna fit that. And it actually turned out that I did. It's an 1 1/8" socket that we're gonna use to tighten that up. So before you get into it, if you're watching this pre-installation, or if you're on the fence about buying it, or just before you're putting it on, know that you're gonna need something that goes up to an 1 1/8". I actually did have a crescent wrench too that fit that nut, but you know, go with the socket, it's easier. Look at the condition of it. I've literally never used this, but I owned it. Click. So now we get to the fun stuff. Let's put the grapple on. So this is going to attach the same way that we would attach other implements. These pins are going to go in here. These are going to lock into the implement, you know, the quick detach pins here. So before you lift this thing up, even though it's significantly lighter than the plow is, remember to pull these out. So what should be the last step of the installation is we're just putting the angling cylinder into place up here. I have the original hose hanger here, so I'm gonna undo this. I'm gonna leave that on there so it doesn't get lost. It says to pull this pin out here. We want the fittings of the cylinder to be this way, not that way. This way they don't get caught up in any of the action. So what I'm going to do now is just turn the tractor on, operate it, make sure we have our clearances everywhere. None of the hoses are going to get caught in anything. excited for this. I really have been. Let's go find a log to go pick up. I know just the one, too. If you watched yesterday's episode, or the video before this, you know that there was, or 3 of those telephone pole logs that I wanted to use yesterday, and one was just way too heavy for me. I don't know the weight on it, but it was a lot. So it stayed there. It was so heavy, I was like, oh man, maybe this thing is frozen to the ground. It's not. It's not. It's like 50 degrees out. It's not frozen to the ground. It's just weighed that much. So let's take this down and see what it can do. I recognize here, before we even get started, I do not have any counterweights in the back. I don't know how that's going to work. I have a feeling it should be good, but I don't have any ballast in my tires. I don't have any wheel weights. I don't have a ballast box in the back. So if we do lift the tires up, I'm saying it now, it's okay. Can't be happier. This is exactly what I was looking for. I don't need a front loader. I don't need a loader. I don't need a backhoe. But I needed some sort of mechanical advantage to help me out in the yard. And this is it. Say goodbye to tips in the dirt. I am so happy. I can't tell you how much that log lifts. I like to think of myself being a relatively strong person. I wear flannel, I have a beard, I am strong. We muscled the other ones over, and this one is just so waterlogged that it was really, really heavy for me to lift. I don't know, 400 pounds, 500 pounds? I don't know. This handled it with nothing. It was it was easy. So with all the trees that we have, and as much deadfall as we have, and as important as firewood is to the house, this is, I hate the term, but it's a game changer. It's an equalizer. Here I come, trees. This is awesome. Shout out to Mark over at Innovative Tractor Attachments. This thing is awesome. As far as installation goes, it was really easy. The hardest part was getting the old cotter pins off. That's not his fault. That's, 17 years of being outside. So hand tools, the ability to follow instructions. The one oddball was the 1 1/8 socket that we had to dig out of the bottom of the toolbox. Again, not that big of a deal. Maybe you have an adjustable that goes up that high. You're torquing on it, but you're not really reefing on it that hard where you're like really gotta get into it. But I mean, you could do it with the tools that you have. It just makes it a little bit easier if you have that big sized socket. When you're doing it, because when you have to put the angling cylinder back on for the plow, I would say either have some cotter pins. I just happen to have some, or between now and winter, get yourself some new cotter pins, because those old ones are probably just going to snap, and you don't want to be losing your pins or relying on old stuff anyway. So replace your pins. Really easy. Was it like 10 cents over at a hardware store? So again, in review, shout out, fantastic, awesome. That little bit was all I needed. Was there a little bit? Is there a little bit of confirmation bias because I wanted it so bad? Yeah, but that's demonstrative of what we're going to be using it for. Bucking down firewood, moving logs that are too heavy for me to do by myself. You know, we'll skid them up like we've seen in other videos and move them around with this thing. Man, I'm really happy. Fantastic. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Bonus content. The frozen logs have given way to summer greenery. We're gonna do about a 6-7 month update on the Grapple, and you know, that's what I'm thinking. I'm still thinking of you guys after 6 months. Give you an update on how it's going, what my thoughts are. Of course, the initial reaction is going to be great. If you get a tool that you're looking for and you finally get it and it does its little thing, that little test that I just showed you, of course I'm going to be happy with it. But so what do I think now 7 months on? The Grapple itself is in fantastic shape. You can see the dirt. It is well used. The only difference now from when we filmed before is that, you know, it's summertime. I have the mower deck on, which it does help, in my opinion, to you know, give a little bit more weight in the back. Not that I was having a ton of issues, because the lifting action will lift up pretty much all the logs that I need. I cut them down to about 6 foot length. You know what? It's probably better just to show you. So kind of as a proof of concept, we built this little 6x4 garden bed out of some logs that we had fallen. All this is dead. I don't cut anything live down. This was deadfall. You can kind of see the mushrooms growing on this, but this is a solid 6 feet or so. And then, you know, I'm just a regular sized person. I don't know, 14 inches or so. Dragged them through the garden gate over there. Dragged them around before this bed was here and placed them in place. The Grapple had no problem, and the tractor had no problem moving them into place. With that success, we went ahead and built this little step, if you will. These logs are a little bit smaller. They're a little bit drier. These are some old pine that we had around. These are about 11 inches or so, but I just cut them down. You can see these are much larger than that bed over there. It's I would say this is probably 10 or 11 feet long. And again, the Grapple had no problem moving. We dragged it through that gate right there. Had no problem moving and placing these into place. The other thing that I like about it is that this log was of small enough circumference that I was able to lift this top log on top of the other one with just that little bit of height that we have with the Grapple. So it was instrumental in making the garden bed, making more garden beds. And then for firewood, let's go down and show you down there. We lost this tree here back in February, and it's just dried up enough now where normally a stream runs through here that I was able to go back into the woods and scoop this tree out. And you can see they're decent size. I'd say that's probably 12 inches round, and this one on this side is probably every bit of 8 or 9 feet. This is probably another 8-footer. This is the top part here. This is the stump. Never mind the awful chainsaw work, but this is the stump. And no tomfoolery. That Grapple and that tractor had no problem yanking that out, bringing it over here. Now the only reason why I didn't bring this over to the firewood processing center is because we have all of this made. If you saw the log splitting video, it was just this. These are the initial row that I made. And we made another row, another row. We have 2 over here. And as far as the Grapple is concerned, we scooped some more dead trees out from the back part of the property over there. And again, these are a little bit bigger. These are probably 20 inches or so round, cut shorter, bucked down shorter, but we moved all these, and we moved and stacked all of these logs, deadfall from all around the property here. And even these big guys here. This is probably, I don't know, 12, 13 feet or so. So from stump width, but short, to skinnier width and longer length, that grapple and tractor combo have no problem at all moving logs around. So after 6 or 7 months, can I think of any cons right now to this implement? No, I can't think of any cons to it. You know, it's exactly the tool that I was looking for. It does exactly what I need it to do. I know I made fun a little earlier of folks who, you know, might need to come up a little bit higher with their logs to buck them down and make firewood. But I don't need that yet. So for me, this implement is exactly what I was looking for, and it does exactly what I needed to do. I think I mean, really, I'm racking my brain. I think the only con that I can come up with is, and this is user error, and I haven't gotten, I don't know, after all these months, I think I have like a mental hitch. I put the grapple in the float position when I park it so that hydraulic Harry doesn't get mad at me. And a lot of times I drive with it down, so it scrapes up the driveway. It makes enough of a clatter that you really only do it for a short distance, but that's not the grapple's fault. That's operator error. I mean, outside of that, it's done everything that I needed to. If I do come across a log that's too heavy for it or outside of the capacity for the grapple tractor combination, I just cut a couple feet off of it and it moves it around. It's so much easier than skidding, you know, with a chain like we've done before. The tractor is small enough that I can kind of get in and out of these areas and do what I have to do. One other thing, is there an example over here? One other thing that I want to show you guys that I do a lot with it. Let's go take a walk. So I'm going to show you one more added benefit that I don't think it's really advertised, or I don't really even know if it's made for, but it does exceedingly well. As you can see, this is the next tree that's coming out using the grapple. We have a lot of saplings around. There's a lot of small trees around. So if we want to continue our paths around, it's not exactly the easiest thing, but what this grapple does really, really well is there's just the right amount of downward deflection in it. You know, it's not level when it's parked. You could put it down a little bit. It's really good at scooping out roots and all of these small saplings so that I can make some paths around here. Just enough downward angle, punch it into the bottom, lift up on the grapple. There's enough weight in the rear end. There is enough weight in the rear end of the tractor to just yank them right out and torque them right out and move them out of your way. It's one added benefit that I didn't really think about doing until I started doing it. I don't think it's advertised that way. I don't know if it's in the instructions to do that, but boy, is it really good at doing it. So another added benefit. So I think that wraps it up. This time I mean it. It's significantly hotter out here now than it was when I first made this video, or made the first half of this video. If you're on the fence about buying one of these or seeing if your tractor can accept one of these, have this video kind of assuage any fears that you might have. It's awesome. It's a force multiplier instead of saying game changer. It is really super helpful around here, and I don't know where I'd be without it. I'd have a lot less firewood, I'll tell you that. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions about it, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. That's it. I'll see you on the next one.